Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. I'm going to show you how to make a quick edit in just 15 minutes to trick everyone into thinking you actually know how to Photoshop. Ready, steady, a 1, a 2, a 3, go. Okay, so first we're going to start out. We're going to have to open up the picture that we're going to want to use for this. I'm going to be using a Damian Lillard against the 76ers. Against OKC. His game-winning shot from, I believe it was 37 feet out against Paul George to win the series and go to the Western Conference Finals where they got swept. But here it is. This is the picture I will be using. Dame Lillard against Paul George. Deep shot, 1.5 seconds left in the game to win. So to start out, I'm going to take my magnetic lasso tool and I'm going to just quickly go around Paul George all the way around his uniform. I don't have to go exact as I will be fixing up in a second, but really this is very easy. Magnetic lasso tool, what it does is it sticks to the line or the color that it thinks that you are trying to use. So it will stick to anything that stands out, like his skin against a crowd, and it's easier if he's against a blurry background. But you can see some places where the Photoshop cannot quite tell where I'm trying to do it, such as next to his jersey at 13. It's lighter there, so it doesn't pick up too well. So now I'm going to take my quick select tool. I'm going to do plus minus. What this does is it just allows you to select areas, and it uses the smart sensors in it to figure out where to stop. So you can see it helped me with the pants. It went right to the line of the pants. It figured out where I wanted to go. This just helps me get more exact, and I can make the lines bigger or smaller depending. I can deselect or select. You can, if you're using plus, you hold down Alt and it will start subtracting from your selection. See right here, Alt and subtract. Good. I'm going to keep doing that, and all the way around. The best way to do it is to go magnetic lasso around what you want to do. Quick select to really just fix up the edges that you want to do. See right here, I'm going to hold Alt to get the subtraction, bring it down, bracket keys to make it bigger and larger. Right below a plus and minus sign on it, the bracket keys will subtract and deselect. I was having trouble with this hand a lot because their hands are together. Since their hands are together, it will make it harder to select exactly what hand to use, because I will have to do more free-handed and draw around his fingers because they can't really tell what fingers are what. In fact, I believe I forgot a finger. But we're going to now do refine edges where we're going to turn the radius up. This is how you make the copy that you're going to do nice and smooth. The radius up to amount of pixels that you want to do. So you can see when you turn the radius, it does it gives a little the edges change, and you want to change the smoothness up to really just make it smooth. Feather is going to make it a bit blurry around the edges, and contrast is going to make it harder around the edges. I did a little bit of both just so I could make it extra smooth, and then the last bar is to subtract or add stuff to the selection around the selection, add or subtract pixels. Now, falling behind here, we are going to go to Damian Lillard, who I am going to do the same thing here. Quick select. He's a bit easier around the uniform because he's white. His uniform is white against a bunch of different colors, very bright white, which makes it much easier. But I did have more imperfections here, mostly around his buttocks area. I forgot here, you can see it keeps deselecting. That's because if you look at the layers, I am on the layer that I copied from Paul George, and that means Damian Lillard is not on that layer, so it doesn't recognize it, so I have to go switch the background like I just did, and now it will be able to use the smart technology to figure out what I want. Before, it was deselecting all because he wasn't even on the image that I was trying to do. I'm really just going to get the shoelaces here just because make it look nice and pretty. Shoelaces aren't a big deal. They really do not show up. But I just want to make it nice. So I can also see I forgot a little back of his foot. But once again, these are details that you can go over much faster if you had the time and weren't rushing for 15 minutes. So right around here, I am about 5-ish minutes into the edit, which means I'm about a third done. You might think you've done nothing. Well, that's because doing this literally is the hardest part of everything. It's just trying to select the uniform. Oh, got a ding. So I'm now going to go around his head. You can probably see, as rewatching this, I see some things I did wrong, such as the black stripe on his uniform. Good thing is, since it's black, it doesn't... since it's black, doing the color arrangements and the color balance that I will be doing later, it doesn't really affect it because it's not going to change. The color's not going to change from black. So right here, we're back at the hands, which is difficult, trying to get Damian Lillard's fingertips separated from Paul George's hand, because they do have separation there. So I have to once again go around and freehand it. And once I do that, I'm going to go back to my refine edges, get them all in view so I can see. Click refine edges. I notice on the side of his head that there's a bit of a selection there that makes it look a bit wacky. So I'm going to cancel it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to subtract that part from my edit. Cool, now we're going to back to refine edges. We're going to do the same thing, bring the radius up around the edges that we want to edit. Smoothness to make it nice smooth around the edges. Feather is to make it a bit blurry around, and contrast is once again to make it a bit harder. So it was kind of glitching out for me where the smoothness for some reason wasn't going up, so I had to go back and fix that right here. Brought it up, and it's not the best smoothness I could have done, but reality, the good thing is, since it's white and his uniform is white, it really made it much easier in the first place to stay nice and smooth. So I do that. I'm going to copy and paste them onto his own layer. Also, I'm going to be putting a glow on them, which really helps show their smoothness. Because the reason I need them smooth is because right around here, you see me make a copy of the background because you never want to do it on the original photo. I'm going to go into background copy. I'm going to go to images. I'm going to go to adjustments. I'm going to go to black and white. I'm going to make the background black and white. Now that is black and white, they really stand out to where they are. I have now going to copy over another Paul George. You'll see in a minute what that is for. I'm copying over another Paul George because I'm going to do half black, half white, as if this shot is like draining the color from him. You'll see what I mean later on. I'm now back on copy. I'm going to do motion blur, and I'm going to turn that up. This really I enjoy because it makes them pop out much more compared to the background. On the edit, it makes it seem like they are still in time. I just bring it up to what sounds good. You can also see they start getting a halo around them because their original figure is there behind them, and now the blur blurs them out, but it gives them a nice glow around them, which really makes them seem like they are just stopping in time. Like you just got a nice stoppage in time, which I quite enjoy. You see it much more on Damian Lillard because he was wearing white than Paul George. But I realized that I need the basketballs in the shot, and that's a big thing. So I'm going to need to copy that over. This one's quite easy with the quick select tool since it is round, has nice edges. I tried to get it. So I copied over. I go over to refine edges. I make it nice and smooth. This really didn't have to because it was already pretty smooth. But I made it a bit smoother. For this, I did not put contrast on it because of how the roundness of it. I did not want it to be hard around the edges. When you see I copy it, I don't want that blur on the ball, so I made the ball a tad bit bigger. Shh, don't tell anyone. Now that it's there, I'm going to bring it in front of the new background layer, and here's what we have so far. Here's the edit. You could keep at this, but I had about 5 minutes left at the. I guess it's around 6 minutes left at this point. So what I do here is I go to my adjustments. Trying to make the ball gold here. I thought that'd be cool, and that'd be an edit you would do if you were more experienced with more time. But this is just me trying to show everyone how to do a nice simple one and make it look good. So we're going to go to blending options on the on the Damian Lillard layer. To do that, you right click on the layer and you would click on blending options. You're going to check outer glow, click on that. I'm going to do white because that's kind of the defining color on him is white. Majority of him, the color on him is white, so that's the color I'm going to use for this. You just mess around the spread, the size, and the range. Spread size will say how far out, I guess, it goes from the body. Spread really shows how solid it's going to be. No spread means it's going to be a bit, it's going to blur out rather than just be a hard edge. Range shows how far out that blur goes. So range is going to show how far out that blur goes. And you just mess around with that until you really get something you like. I got something I liked here because it just it showed him as where I wanted it. It surrounded him enough to where he was standing out. Now I'm going to press Control and click on the picture of him to reselect him. I'm going to go to the little circles at the bottom of the layer tab, click on that, and here I am right now at hue and saturation, messing with that. What I'm trying to do here is to get him nice and dark, and get his colors to pop, because since the image is black and white, I really want the only colors I have in it to be really defining, so I am bringing those up as much as possible. I'm doing it again, but this time, instead of doing hue and saturation, I am going to do, I believe, brightness and contrast. Yes, I am. I'm going to bring the brightness, I'm going to bring the contrast down because he's getting a bit orange. And there we are with that. Now we are going to do it to Paul George. Are we? Oh, right here. I was trying to, so I have these special set of brushes that, instead of just making a hard erase, it will do a silkiness to anything you draw on or erase. I was trying to do that to make a cool effect on Paul George. I could show you right here what those brushes do. I did it with a Kyrie Irving edit, but they were not in my thing for some reason, so I had to go away from that. So now I have this newspaper picture. I got this newspaper picture by typing in newspaper backgrounds. This is to get some texture to the photo. So along with this, I want it to be nice and textured, a nice wrinkleness to it with the word, the text. The text is a bit blurry, a bit different than what I usually use. I usually use text to make it seem like just as the effect of articles being written about it, and but I'm using this one specifically for the wrinkleness in the newspaper to give it a nice effect. So what I do is I copy that over, I put it over the entire image, and I start putting the opacity down. Now the thing about this is it wasn't over everything, so I made it nice and larger than the image. And really, I really like this here because it gives it a nice what's the way of it? I like the texture and the vibe it gives off with. It is exactly what I was looking for. Especially it adds a nice. The image, the newspaper wasn't black and white. It gives it a nice new color to it to put it over, so it's not completely black and white, and it gives it some cool texture over it that you didn't have before. So now here's me spending my last couple minutes really trying to get the brushes. I couldn't find the brushes, so I was just they weren't in there for whatever reason. I'm gonna have to go back and re-download those afterwards, but couldn't find them. So last 2 minutes I decided to try out what I was going to try. You'll notice this image does look a lot like my Kawhi Leonard versus Joel Embiid buzzer beater one, because in reality I'm doing the same thing here that I did there. I get this, and I just I go on to the part of Paul George that was light. I made the other Paul George black and white. I forgot to mention that I made it black and white. So when I did this and used the erase marks on Paul George, it showed him as kind of part of him is black and white, part of him is colored. Only thing is I was not liking how it was looking. It was looking pretty bad. Big thing is that part of the OKC jersey is already black, so when you erase that, it doesn't really show it as going as the color's changing. It's a very dark blue, blackish type of color. On the legs, where it was orange, it looked nice, but besides that, it did not do what I was hoping it would do. So I undid a couple times. I kept trying it. I tried to make the OKC half colored, half not a couple times. It just wasn't doing what I wanted it to. I think at the end I settled with starting at his arm because his arm was closest to Damian Lillard and just taking the color out of his arm to make it seem like the color was draining for him. But here we were, 0 seconds left on the timer, 15 minutes in, and this was our final result. I did end up going back and changing the Paul George because the colors he had just wasn't good. You can see me here trying to do it, but I will put up now the image I finally decided to use at the end. But basically this 15 minutes, a nice easy 15 minutes, and a quick easy edit. Of course, starting out is going to take longer, but once you get a hold of how everything works, it gets much easier. So here I am still looking for my brushes, but yeah, thank you all for watching. This is a nice quick edit with Damian Lillard against Paul George, buzzer beater for the win to send OKC back. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, stick around. Maybe watch some more. I'm enjoying these voiceovers. I might do a couple more with some of my edits, some quick stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching. Adios.